guess where I first met her.
Where did you first
Patty?
meet her?
McHenry County Democratic Women.
Ah, okay.
At an event.
Nice. What a great organization.
It's a great organization, yes, of which I'm on the board. And we were having an event, and I was like, who is this wonderful woman? She gets up and she starts talking. And I'm like, yep, this is what we need. More local candidates.
Yes, yes. Especially at a time now when, I don't know if you saw this thing yesterday where this administration has said that if your field of study, like, let's say my degree in history doesn't earn as much as somebody who didn't go to college, you can't get a loan for that. Have you seen that? Oh, that's a new thing that just happened yesterday for higher education, which would mean what? That includes teachers, because teachers are underpaid. I mean, it's like these artificially suppressed fields, whether it's teaching and the support services, the work that people do. And by the way, at any rate,
they're going after professions like nursing.
It's about taking power
nursing
from women.
Yes, yeah, and I don't know. People don't see it. And it's fine. It's fine. Well, speaking of, and I my guests came in the studio. I'm like, watch this video, and the reason I wanted you to watch that video, there was a hearing. I don't even know what the basis was for the Smithsonian. This woman who was representing them. I'm not even sure of her role. All we're all seeing on my side of Instagram and social media is this snarky, nasty Republican who's like, what is Latino power? And she's like, excuse me, what? So apparently in the gift shop at the Smithsonian, they sell these pink hats that say Latina power on them. So, he says, what is Latina power? Is it appropriate to be selling something that says Latina power? Clearly under the guise of, would it be okay for me to sell white power hats and shirts? So I was watching it and I was like, wow. And of course, every Latina I know ran to this image and was like, I need to buy that hat. And then I started laughing when I saw the creators of it. So do you remember when Target started yanking all of their Pride stuff a few years ago, even before Trump won again? I happened to be at the Evanston Pride event with Pride Coffee Roasters, and I ran into Target just to, I don't know, buy some coffee or something. And they were yanking in real time during a Pride event. They were yanking Pride, like all kinds of shirts and all this stuff. So I tried buying everything I could, and it happened to be one of these shirts, which is made by the same artists who make the Latina Power hat.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I was like, what? So, they are LGBTQ plus owned creators, they're artists, and they had just gotten that contract, and they got screwed by Target. Anyway, so that I was just pumped up about that because it's about erasure. It's about, as you mentioned, about wanting to limit the spaces where women do have power. So, at any rate, thank you for taking on the challenge of running. Is this your first time running for office?
It is, yes.
Oh, and so how long have you been running?
Since May.
Since May.
Yes.
Okay. So
I was slated by the Democrats. I did not run in the primary, so
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's exciting.
Yes.
So how about the incumbent right now? Who's the incumbent? Is it Oh,
yeah, well,
I like this. Like I feel like you were worried about the FCC regulations.
No,
this mother. No, I'm just kidding. That's me.
Her name is Diana Hartman, and she is. She's been in the office since January of 22. She was appointed to her seat.
Who makes that decision?
The county board made that decision.
Okay.
They had removed the previous regional superintendent for mismanagement of funds. And they appointed Ms. Hartman to her seat. And then she ran for, quote, re-election in November of 22. And so then this would be her second election. So, to say she's the incumbent is accurate, but, she was appointed to her seat.
Right. And what are the things, what are the things you're running on? What is your vision for this role as superintendent?
Yes, thank you so much. So how I operate as a school principal is I'm a very collaborative person. I think that schools and businesses and just life in general run better as when we work together, right? Everything is better together. And so I like to be collaborative. And so what I want to do is I want to talk to school districts and find out how can we, as the ROE, serve our school districts? That's really how it should be operating. That's the purpose of the ROE. So that's something it's important to me. And then truancy prevention and fiscal responsibility. Those are the three big things on my agenda right now.
And it's, you know, truancy, like I feel like it's something that we have sort of in the background of our lives, like people who cut class and things like that. Talk to us a little bit about that, the truancy sort of expectations and what we can do to resolve issues.
Right, absolutely. Well, truancy, I'd like to start out by saying that it's also an economic problem, because when our students don't go to school, they don't get a high school diploma, then they are not contributing to our economy in the same way that high school graduates are. So that's one of the things that I have pointed out to our constituents. But secondly, there are usually reasons behind that. And so, it's like there's transportation, there's healthcare, there's
mental health issues.
I
think this is something we have never taken approach to. Because I know somebody in my life who I'm married to, who bailed on a lot of his class, and I think for some kids, it's a sorry, Steve, but I think that there's a level of not being engaged with what a student is going through, whether it's being bored or not being, sort of we're in a better space now of understanding whether it's neurodivergent or what the curriculum is. And I know that we can't tailor something for every single student, but we also need to take into account what every student might be going through.
Right. And one of the simple things that we do at my school when a family calls a student in is we say, would you like to speak to the nurse or the social worker?
Intense.
Yes,
That's intense
it is. Especially if they call in and they say, my child is taking a mental health day today.
Okay. Which they now statewide, it's 5 days. Is that right?
Correct.
See? Go ahead.
And so that's, because we want them to know that there are resources for them. And so those are things that we do. And if we can start getting that into all of our schools a little bit more, then maybe we can find out what resources our families need, and we're not necessarily just jumping right to court.
I like I said, I feel kind of bad because I feel like I threw him under the bus. I'm waiting for a text to come in because I think that it's a challenge with young people, and to sort of have a specific plan for every single person. Right? We know about IEPs. Right? We know about kids who need to have certain direction and supports in school, but at some point, every kid needs supports.
Right. We all do.
Yes.
We all do.
Yes,
Who doesn't need support?
Wow, there's other people in our lives that care, that love us, that are here to support us. Yes, it feels good. It's good for our mental health as well. And we take for granted that as adults, we have accessibility to those relationships. Young people sometimes don't know how to express the need or the desire to have that in their lives. And so school is one place where they're surrounded by, hopefully, adults that care about them and that reflect that in the classroom and in the environment where they are. And so when they're not in that space, they're missing out on things. So I think filling that gap, that we use truancy, and Patty, you were so right in thinking oh, well, it's just kids cutting class or skipping a day or two. There's so much more nuance to it, and there's just so much more behind what is the real reason behind them not wanting to be in school. There's something else is going on. Sure, maybe they're just not feeling good that day. They're taking a sick day. That's fine. But then it becomes problematic when it's reoccurring. And I think to have somebody like Bridget who really understands that from a true education background as a teacher, as a principal. She is, Dr. Bridget Belcastro.
Doctor. Yes, thank you for the reminder as well.
She's got her chops.
Doc Bridget, B. Doc B.
Yeah, that's what the kids call me.
Is candidate for McHenry Regional Superintendent of Schools. You can go to BridgetBelcastro.com. That's Bridget, BELCASTRO.com. And the other thing is, and I threw my husband on the bus, and I'm like, oh, wait, I got my own stories. Because the other element is when I was going to school around here as the only Mexican kid in the school, and even though I know I present as white, I was darker when I was little, and I was bullied. And at one point, finally, the principal called and said, Patty doesn't come to school on Tuesdays. Well, Tuesday was my beat-up day, which is I would get chased home and various things would happen. There's also that, which a lot of kids out of shame, out of fear, don't talk about as well. What have you learned? As far as intervention, because I will tell you, even as recently as about 15 years ago, the language was, well, it's not happening on school property. There's nothing we can do about it. But that carries over into class.
Absolutely. So one of the things that's really great is that social emotional learning is something that most schools prioritize now, at least in my experience. And it's actually a part of Illinois curriculum. So in my school, we teach every day. There's a specific curriculum we have, and we work on that every day. But we're also embedding that within the day, and not just at, lunch or recess, but in ELA classes, in our math classes, we're embedding some of those concepts in there as well. So it's a priority for schools today.
That's great. I had a situation, not just my own as a kid, but my older son was in a situation, and they really said to me, well, it's not happening during school hours. And that's crazy to me. So I'm glad to hear that we've come a long way when it comes to approaching that support, and also for the bullies.
Right.
With social media, tell me a little bit about, I know that Pritzker, I believe, has signed legislation that cell phones are no longer allowed in classrooms. Is that correct?
Yes. And so I think that's a really big step towards especially cyberbullying. I think that when kids have their cell phones at school, they're using them throughout the day, and sometimes they're not using them in appropriate ways. And so without access all day long, that really will limit some of those things. And I think that's a great tool. Schools that have been early adopters of this policy, even before Governor Pritzker signed that into law, have reported less stress by their students, less reports of bullying, fewer referrals, et cetera. So I think that we are going to see some important things happening in our school in a positive way in regards to cyberbullying and bullying in general.
We are talking to Dr. Bridget Belcastro. I'll remember that, Natalie. Thank you for reminding us. Also, is this March of 2024 Illinois Elementary School Principal of the Year?
Yeah, that's great.
What? And you can find that on the Northern Illinois University College of Education page. They're very proud of you as well. Is it Huskies?
Yes, yeah. Go Huskies. That's right.
Natalie, I'm sure I've asked before, where'd you go to college?
Undergrad, Southern Illinois.
Oh,
so I'm a
Saluki.
Saluki. And then my graduate degree is from Dominican University in River Forest.
And what did you study?
Undergrad was English, and
both English majors.
Mhm,
okay,
and then my graduate degree is in education.
So all three of us would not be able to get loans under this administration if they have their way.
That's right. That's right. But guess what?
Yeah.
Still responsible for paying mine back, and I'm doing it.
Oh, but here's the thing about that too, though. The whole idea that we don't want people to have loan forgiveness is absolutely insane, especially when you think about how much college cost when we were younger. When I right?
Yes, we just had this conversation in the car on the way here, actually, about the cost difference between when I went to college and what it costs today. It's ridiculous.
It's
not. And so my daughter is in the Navy. She's 22, and she decided, she was a sophomore when COVID happened, and she said, you know what, college is just not where I want to go right now. She does want to go at some point, but this is not what I want right now. And I was perfectly fine with that. And we are pressuring kids to go to school when that is not the avenue that they need. And then they are racking up bills and stressing themselves out when that's not the path for them. And there are so many other paths for kids today.
There are. And someone just wrote 5 days. Wow, I wish we had insanity days. I mean, but we didn't have language for it. We didn't have language for neurodivergent. We didn't talk about anxiety or depression depression was, Breakfast Club and the girl who put, Fritos on her sandwich. I can't. Ali Sheedy. Right. That was to us, that was sort of like the image, kind of quirky.
Emo.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was sort of almost exotic. We almost lifted it up as she's depressed. There was a cartoon for it. What was the girl with the hair? Darla. You know what I'm talking about?
Daria.
I think it's Daria.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And instead, rather than having, I really believe that we need to have this sort of mainstream idea about mental health. The same way we make dental appointments twice a year, on the same day, make your check-in with your therapist, with someone to check in with. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that's what how we should be raising our kids. And I say that as somebody who did not do that for my own kids and wish I had. We are talking to our guest, Councilwoman of
Woodstock.
I know. I was trying to remember if Councilwoman was right, and you didn't correct me
Yes.
there. And I was like, Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba is in studio with us. She's my guest co-host for the hour. We also have Rob Held coming in a little bit. If you guys are on Instagram and you're following what's happening with ICE and abductions and shootings and attacking protesters, he's been arrested. He has been fighting for folks. He's traveled all over the country to visit other detention centers, concentration camps, and he's very passionate about the work that he does. So I'm excited about having him in studio. We have in studio with us Dr. Bridget Belcastro, who's running for Superintendent of McHenry Regional Schools, and we'll talk more about her vision and her campaign when we come back in just a moment, and anything that Natalie wants to share with us about Woodstock, including, oh my goodness, it is the McHenry County Fair coming up August 4th through the 9th in Woodstock, Illinois. There'll be a rodeo, house pull would be interesting too, but there's going to be a horse pull, demolition derby, fair food, of course, deep fried Oreos. I'm hoping it's part of the menu. We'll take a break here, and thank you to our sponsors, Pride Coffee Roasters, Source Solar, and Minocqua Brewing Company. Hi, everybody watching on KKNW 1150. Well, listening there and watching on the social media platforms like Facebook, YouTube, and now Substack with Minocqua Brewing Company.
Choose Views with Richard Chew.
I just want to say you guys are so lucky there with Devin and Whitney and Mike and, of course, Henry, Matt. You guys have such a great crew there. They don't just know how to push the buttons and move the levers. These young people give me hope for the future of this country because they are some of the smartest younger people that I know.
Richard Chew, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk and
Or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our drive home here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. Of course, hello to all our friends who are tuning in on our Facebook platform, our YouTube stream, and Substack through Minocqua Brewing Company. Joining me in studio is Councilwoman for Woodstock, Illinois, Natalie Ziemba, who I had the opportunity and pleasure of working with back in my other radio show for Alzheimer's walks, and really incredible work that you have done. And so glad to have you as a collaborator here at WCPT in your role as councilwoman.
I love it.
And I love it too. And she has brought with her, Dr. Bridget Belcastro, who's running for McHenry Regional Superintendent of Schools. And you can find out more about her campaign by going to bridgetbelcastro.com. And what about you? Where should people find out more about the work you're doing, Natalie? Councilwoman.
I am all over social media. So best thing to do is just search my name, Natalie Ziemba, Ziemba, and you'll find me on places like Facebook, on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn just because of council and my career and what I do in business development. But I'm very involved in things like Rotary and McHenry County Democratic Women. So I post a lot about those things on my Facebook and on my Instagram, and more professional things and Rotary things and council things on my LinkedIn.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You probably have to teach me on, like, I don't know how to, like, LinkedIn doesn't seem like I should be putting a lot of the stuff that I do because it's all politics, and it's not quite, you know what I mean? I have other businesses, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about my LinkedIn. We're here to talk about the work that you do. Yes. What's the prep work like? I mean, how involved are you with the McHenry County Fair?
I don't do a ton with the McHenry County Fair, and here's why: because where the fairgrounds lie are just out of the boundary of the city of Woodstock. Okay. So technically the fairgrounds,
right.
Again, local municipal government. So everybody assumes, well, the address is Woodstock, the land is right there. I drive by it all the time. it's not in the jurisdiction of the city of Woodstock boundaries.
Gotcha.
So I attend. Sometimes I'll volunteer at the Rotary table. Sometimes I'll volunteer at the Democratic Party of McHenry County booth.
Nice.
And hang out. Oftentimes I'm walking around, I'm shaking hands, I'm waving to people, I'm talking to people. The fair, growing up in the city of Chicago, there is really nothing like a county fair, right? There's Taste of Chicago. There's lots of events in Grant Park. I was a kid in the 80s and in the 90s. County fairs, I've never experienced one until I actually moved to Woodstock. And my first time there, people were getting ribbons for things like raising animals and the rodeo. I had never seen anything like it. And so it is such a fun experience. Families come, they spend entire days.
Yes.
There's carnival rides. There's what you would typically think, like you're eating corn dogs and walking around and you're just stuffing your face with like fried food. It's amazing. But another part of the fair is also learning about 4-H.
I was just going to say the 4-H.
Yeah. Future Farmers of America. It is wonderful. It is iconic. It is just, it's a blast. And then you go and you visit all of these other like organizations have booths and different businesses set up tables and you can get all this information. So it is so much fun. And you're going to be there.
Yes, I am. I'll be broadcasting there. So of course, we need to schedule interviews with our lovely guests as well. And I'm looking forward to it. By the way, I love that the Feudin' Hillbillies will be playing. They're one of the bands that we have listed here. And there's a pageant.
Yes.
There's going to be a rodeo. And I'm a big fan of barrel racing. I used to barrel race when I was in Girl Scout camp. I don't know how they let us do that, which sounds dangerous.
It does
but
sound
I was pretty
dangerous.
good at it. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
It's amazing the number of people that come for just the live music alone. Because
really?
people love it. You're standing in the bandstand on these huge bleachers.
I can hear it from my house.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like a bad...
And I live several miles away.
Yeah, there's not like a bad spot. And
Really?
so-
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
Because where the fairgrounds are positioned, it's sort of like the perfect spot for where the music plays. And even like they do the rodeo, you can hear like the announcers and such over the loudspeakers. Even if you're in a certain position, even a mile or two away, you can hear it sort of reverberating. It's quite an event. It's so much fun. I can't say it enough how awesome the fair is.
And for me, one of the things I love about it is I go and I see students and their families come. And it's right before the school year starts. And it's just so great when they come up and they say, Doc B, and they give me hugs and high fives. And we're just getting ready for the school year. And it's like that last thing before the school year begins.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. And folks can go to McHenryCountyFair.com. You can purchase your tickets there. You can see about all the, oh my God, these mini little Jeeps the kids are like driving around. Like it looks like so much. But just watching it online, I'm having a good time. And there's nothing like especially at night when all the carnival lights are going and you've got all the, I'm guessing there's also the carnival games, the ring toss, the, darts of the balloons. I don't know if it's those. And you get your cows and your chickens and your sheep and all the things. Carved butter. Are we doing carved butter? I don't know.
No, but they do carve. There is a wood carver who's there live. There's specific times that you can go and you can see him literally carving all of these amazing...
A big trunk. Yes.
So fun. I have not seen... I don't know if they actually have this. I don't know if this is just like a B-roll or if this is from last year, but the zipper ride. I don't know if you remember that from the 80s and 90s where you're in this cage.
Yes.
And it goes around and then you can make it spin and you can like use your weight. And I... at any rate,
are you a roller coaster person?
I am a roller coaster person. Absolutely love it. You know what? I've never been on Raging Bull. I think it's the only roller coaster in Great America.
Okay.
Well, I haven't been on X-Wing because I haven't been there since. But what's your favorite?
Oh, I used to really love the Eagle.
I love the Eagle. Yeah. Yeah, you have to wear I have to wear the right bra. So it's a rattly ride.
It is.
It's a long.
And the Viper. That was also a good one.
Both great wood roller coasters.
Yeah.
And I love that they have. Oh my God, what was the one from Kittyland? They have the Kittyland. It was
Kittyland.
The little one was moved to Great America. It's in. I can't remember which area of Great America. Oh yeah, it's there.
I have not been to Great America in
the Little Dipper. Thank you, Lady B. The Little Dipper.
Little Dipper.
That's
when I would go
right.
to Kittyland, that was so exciting.
That was my first roller coaster, and it's such a cute one. I actually still like the Whizzer.
Me too.
Oh,
I
gosh.
love the Whizzer.
Yeah, it's a good ride.
I don't know if I could do it anymore.
You're sitting low.
You
You're
can't do
low.
them anymore?
I don't know if I can.
Which one? Any of them?
Any of them.
I can't do spinny. I
Yeah.
don't, like the zipper ride. I loved it when I was a kid, but I can't do the spinning anymore.
Yeah.
Like the tilt-a-whirls.
Oh, no.
get
No
me off.
way.
Oh, I couldn't get enough when I was younger.
Me too.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how I would handle that. But coasters, I love.
Same.
You know what one of my favorite coasters is? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, don't be sorry. I'm in. Let's go.
In Vegas at New York, New York.
Oh, the thing on the top?
yeah.
That coaster
No.
is really good.
That would make me pass out.
It is great.
No.
I have a photo
I would hide.
because it snaps, and you think you know where the photo is going to take it, but it's actually like delayed like a second or two, and so you get these great action shots on the coaster.
My favorite is the rock and roller coaster at in Disney.
Yeah, I've been on that one.
That's a
I
great one.
think that one's closed.
It might be.
I think that one.
It's been a while.
I feel like they just closed it though. I'm so sorry. Yeah, they got rid of a lot of rides over there. They got rid of the theater, the Chinese theater, where you went in, you get to see all the movies that from generations. And okay, let's see what Rob Held's favorite roller coaster is. Yes, you can.
I was going to ask Bridget just a really general question.
Absolutely.
What does the Regional Office of Education do?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Because most people do not do it. When I walk and when I'm knocking on doors, they don't even know that this office exists. So the Regional Office of Education is in charge of things like teacher certification and bus driver permits, professional development. That's a big thing. That's probably the biggest part of their job. Truancy, school safety, health, life safety. So that's another big part of their job. So those are the biggest pieces of what the Regional Office of Education does. It's a really important job for our local public schools.
That's amazing. And again, Dr. Bridget Belcastro, who was the Illinois Elementary School Principal of the Year in 2024, is clearly well-versed and qualified and has been slated by the McHenry County Dems, by the way, to be the next superintendent of McHenry County Schools. And we're very excited to have her in studio. We're going to continue our conversation in just a moment. We're going to bring in Rob Held to talk about some of the current, and he's been going through a lot of stuff. I know that he's been in courtrooms, he's been at protest lines, he's been doing the work of trying to protect those who need it the most. And my guests in studio are doing that work as well in their communities. Dr. Bridget Belcastro, Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba, who is serves in Woodstock, Illinois. And again, go to the McHenry County Fair website, which is McHenryCountyFair.com. We will be right back after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KKNW 1150 in Seattle. Hello to all our friends tuning in digitally. We will be right back after this.
You are listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller in the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 66 degrees and winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10. Saturday, lots of sunshine, high temperature of 81, and southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Sunday, partly sunny and warmer with a high of 91 degrees, southwest winds at 10 to 20. Monday, chance of thunderstorms and a high of 92. Tuesday, sunshine with a high temperature of 83. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 79.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter. WCPT Replay.
We are blessed to have one of the most prolific writers and storytellers and authors in the country right now, and that's Michelle Duster.
When people try to say, well, they want to make America great again, I mean, it's code language for making it white again. But this country has never been a white country. People want to act like there were no indigenous people here. They were in the majority when, the Europeans discovered this country. And then after millions of Africans were imported by force, to come to this country, in many places in the South, people of European descent were in the extreme minority. So then for them to not say out loud they want an all-white country, it's like it never has been. They're pining for something that never existed.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Here's great news for those Chicagoans heading up to southern Wisconsin. Should you ever forget to load up on progressive brews from the local favorites like Rogers Park Provisions or Park West Liquor in Lincoln Park, Minocqua Brewing Company beer is now conveniently available at Dream Liquor and Cigar in Kenosha and in the Lake Geneva area at Delavan Liquor and Smoke in Delavan. If the great town of Madison, Wisconsin is your jam, please remember to swing into the Minocqua Brewing Company tap room at 2927 East Washington Avenue to grab some Resistance beer, pizza, t-shirts, and progressive camaraderie.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining as we continue our conversation. My guest co-host, Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba, who serves Woodstock, Illinois. We've got some interesting conversation to have about some recent developments there as well. Candidate for Superintendent of McHenry County Schools is our guest as well. That is Dr. Bridget Belcastro. You can go to BridgetBelcastro.com to learn about her campaign to be the next regional superintendent of schools in McHenry County. And joining us now as well is Rob Held, who I had it's so weird because I was a fan of his last summer. I was watching all the protests happening and Rob, I have to tell you, I have an ex-boyfriend who is former Cook County Sheriff's Department. I was sending him these videos. He's a Dem. He's a liberal. He's against everything that's happening. And I was showing him the images of the law enforcement just ramming batons into the crowds, and you were out there, and I know I say this every time you're on, but you were out there with a bullhorn trying to lower the temperature, trying to be clear, because they were giving so many contradictory instructions, and that continues to cause a lot of fear and chaos, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I was out at Broadview. We had, people peacefully protesting. The mayor's executive order allowed us to be there till 6 p.m. at certain areas. Totally compliant with the law, peaceful assembly, and the police raised up the tension by threatening us and trying to shoo us out of our protest before the executive order had, expired.
And you were accosted by law enforcement and then arrested.
Many times.
Many times. But on one occasion where, it was once it was trying to move the fence and they sort of they create situations to take you into custody, don't they?
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes the police, whether it's federal, Border Patrol, ICE, or otherwise, they're raising the temperature, and local police are sometimes guilty of the same thing. The idea is to de-escalate, and that's what they don't do.
Well, and I mean, not the situation that obviously you were in, but what we saw in Madison, I just don't, I mean, we're not reimagining policing at all. If anything, it's getting worse, and we're under an administration that wants it that way, is my sense.
It's so sad because, our communities are being terrorized and traumatized by the police, not just the federal agencies, but other police agencies as well. There's been an attack on our right to protest, to peacefully assemble, and to redress, against the government for the grievances that we have. And that should be celebrated and promoted. But local officials, police forces are not promoting that fundamental American right.
Councilwoman, what kind of relationship do you guys have with law enforcement in your area and conversations you're having? Because I'm sure ahead of ICE going into communities, was there sort of a dialogue about what's it going to look like from our end and what our take is going to be, our approach?
There was, and I think something that's important to understand is as a municipality like Woodstock, we are the governing body over the police department. Right. So our chief of police, in essence, answers to the mayor and the council. And our chief, one thing that I really admire about him is I think of him as cooperative within the community. He does things like coffee with the chief. Right. He's available. He's accessible. But we've recently come into something quite controversial, which is a contract with Flock. And it's hard because when you're making a decision like this, you don't want to seem like you're anti-law enforcement, but you also don't want to seem like you're pro-Big Brother.
Yeah.
And so the vote did get split. It was a 4-3 vote. I voted very, very much against it. I made a really good statement the evening. This was back in February. So now it has sort of taken this much time. The cameras are not even installed yet, and there's so much pushback in the community against something like this. And it's not necessarily anti-surveillance. It's not we're afraid of cameras. It's this particular company in particular. And so that is when people talk about government, local government, now we're starting to see, and Patty, I bring this up whenever I get a chance to, is we all love to get in the mix of federal. We want to talk about all the big issues, what's happening in DC, what's happening sometimes even in Springfield at a local level. Really local politics is where coming to a council or your village, your board, or your McHenry County board, wherever you are, go to those meetings, speak up, get on the mic, send emails, be vocal about what you do not believe, and bring receipts. Something I will give a lot of credit to, people are very vocal right now in Woodstock. It was a 4-3 vote, which on a council very rarely happens, especially in Woodstock. We're really respectful of each other. Oftentimes, if something goes, it might go like 6-1. So to have a split vote 4-3 is a really big deal in our community.
Wow.
And so when it came down to it's 3-3, the mayor split the tie. He voted for. So now the community is really coming out and saying, here are the reasons why we should not move forward with the contract, or can we break the contract, or what happened. So right now we're in a position with our law enforcement of this passed. What can we still do before they're officially installed and put live? What other parameters now can we put around this and work in concert with law enforcement?
And how can we ensure the public that they're not going to be used inappropriately, as we have seen in other communities?
Over and over again, there have been several officers who've used the flock cameras to stalk women,
right?
Ex-girlfriends, someone they have a crush on, and then illegally tracking people. You mentioned off the air, Rob, that this is a privacy issue, but it's also like misuse issue.
It's a misuse, and the fact is that there are many people, and for good reason, don't trust our government. We don't have transparency with the flock cameras. The data, is not available, to how they're using it, how they're abusing it, and people don't feel safe by this government because they've specifically and on the federal level, have taken steps to ensure that communities feel threatened. They want people to self-deport. I know we've got multiple issues with the flock cameras, but that's one of the things that we don't trust government. And so why should we trust them with this technology that invades our privacy and for which there's no transparency or accountability?
You are on the Chicago Council of Lawyers. Are you the president?
I was just elected president.
Congratulations! That's new since I last had you on the show. What kind of conversations are you having with your with your colleagues in law?
Well, yeah, right now we're very focused on the Secretary of State, Alexi Giannoulias. Alexi Giannoulias is allowing ICE to drive vehicles with no license plates. We're hyper focused on this. Why? It doesn't seem like, not a big deal. They don't have plates. Who cares? Well, the fact is there can be no accountability when somebody doesn't have plates because you can't track who they are, whose vehicle it is. And when they drive recklessly and dangerously, like we saw up in the north suburbs of Chicago a few weeks ago, but in countless other incidents, we have ICE violating the law and doing it with vehicles that don't have plates. And Alexi Giannoulias is refusing to pull over federal vehicles. By the way, there is a Secretary of State police force. I didn't know this as of a couple of months ago, but the Secretary of State has his own police force. Get them out there. Let's pull over these vehicles and find out why they're violating local law.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. We're talking about flock cameras tracking us, and yet we can't do anything to hold the people who can take our life and liberty from us. We're not tracking them. It's bonkers. And Homan the other day even said he doesn't know if the unmarked vehicles in Houston and in Biddeford, Maine had sirens and lights going when he said he wasn't sure.
That was an embarrassment, what he said, because he said, I hadn't looked at the videos.
Yeah.
Well, wait a minute.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That was my reaction.
That's a convenient excuse.
It's terrible.
It's not even an excuse. But to your point about our own electeds in the state of Illinois, I mean, a lot of us feel, with the attorney, the state's attorney, what are we doing about the investigations into whether it's Miramar Martinez or Silverio Gonzalez? Both, what is happening in that level legally?
It's terrible, this lack of accountability. But I want to tell you something. I want to give people hope because there is going to be accountability. And, a lot of people have been looking. I know we're jumping all around here. I'm jumping all around.
That's how my brain works.
Todd Blanche is up to become the Attorney General of the United States. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to tell you, one day he will be disbarred. He's an attorney in good standing right now. That will not stand. He has ethical charges that are, run for, pages and pages, the allegations against him. And I can go into those details. But the point is, we will have accountability. I've told Mr. Homan, and I've said it to ICE agents individually. We have your biometric data. You will be held accountable, and that includes Mr. Homan as well.
Sounds it's good. I appreciate that. I want accountability. I mean, we demand it. We hunger for it. Let's continue our conversation. If anybody has any questions, you can give me a text at 773-763-9278. We kind of have a full studio, so it would be tough for me to take phone calls today. So please text anything you want to share with us, 773-763-9278. We might have a few moments before we leave today to take some phone calls, maybe around 6:20 or so. Because right now we have in studio with us Dr. Bridget Belcastro, who's running for Superintendent of Schools in McHenry County. We have Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba, who serves Woodstock, Illinois. We've been talking about the McHenry County Fair. You know what? Here's the thing. It might seem trivial or silly when we're talking about these horrible things that are going on in our country and demanding accountability, but also being a part of a community, doing something that maybe taps into nostalgia for you, or something that lifts your heart a little bit. McHenry County Fair. I'll be there broadcasting live on August 7th, and we invite everyone to come join us. McHenryCountyFair.com. We have in studio with us Rob Held, who is now the president of the Chicago Council of Lawyers. And so this looks like a lot of. Does this include? Okay, this is some high-powered attorneys. You guys got your brains all over the place on this page. So go to ChicagoCouncil.org if you want to learn more about the work that they do. Maybe follow them on social media. Is that where we can follow folks?
Absolutely.
And follow Rob Held on social media. Rob Held 1 on Instagram is where I follow you. He's also on TikTok, on Facebook as well, all the platforms. And he goes live. He will tell you in real time what is happening. So there's no editing. There's no voiceover. It's in real time in the moment. So let's take a break here and continue our conversation on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal, KKNW 1150. Hello to our friends who are tuning in digitally. Thank you all for being here. Please consider subscribing and sharing with your friends and family so they can join the conversation too.
Hi, friends. This is Jason Bissell from the Center for Acupuncture in Wilmette and Chicago Community Acupuncture.
Chico Maku.
We have fun with these ads, but what I'd like to talk about today is no fun. Cancer. After watching my mother battle and eventually lose her fight to cancer when she was 40 and I was 9, I decided to go into medicine. Acupuncture is very effective at helping people go through cancer treatments with less side effects and better outcomes. My father needed 8 weeks of radiation for his throat. His doctors told him that after 2 weeks he would lose his voice, after 4 weeks he'd be on soft food, and after 6 weeks he'd need a liquid diet. Well, he got acupuncture twice a week, he never needed soft food, never went on a liquid diet, he just got a little hoarse. This improved his quality of life and his mood. For everyone fighting cancer out there, I can help. Go to ChiComAcu.com or CenterForAcu.com in Wilmette, ChicoMacu.com or CenterForAcu.com, and be well.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation with our guests in studio. You heard the entire bump music because I was telling the very tedious story about how I got into radio and have to run my own board and manage all these screens. Joining me in studio are Dr. Bridget Belcastro, who's running to be the Superintendent of Schools in McHenry County. She was Principal of the Year in 2024, elementary school for all of Illinois. That's a lot of principals. It's a lot of principals, and she's principled. Go to Bridget Belcastro. BridgetBelcastro.com to learn more about her campaign. And if you're online, you can see her lawn sign right behind. That's a very nice lawn sign, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a lot of work to decide what you're going to do to put your name out there.
I designed it myself.
Oh, well done. Very nice. And now I don't remember what Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba's lawn sign looks like, but it's fun to see them out there, isn't it? It's something just...
It's so fun. I designed everything. I built my own website, did all my social media, designed my logo, and I did purple, yellow, and white for many reasons, but one was women's suffrage. Those were the colors of suffrage. And because it's local government, I always think of red, blue makes purple. So...
And Natalie Ziemba was making the point, Councilwoman Ziemba was making the point about your local electeds and the impact they have in these sort of catastrophic situations that we are in now with this administration at the federal level. Rob Held has been out there. He's at Broadview, and not just at Broadview, helping lower the temperature in situations where a lot more people could have been hurt. He's also flown around the country to other concentration camps. There's nothing else we can call them except for concentration camps in my mind.
It's such a tragedy. I mean, independent human rights groups have found that these are human rights abusers. The United Nations is becoming involved. It's such a shame. And then on a personal level, when you see individuals that are actually affected by what our government is doing in the concentration camps, it's heartbreaking.
Are you familiar with what's going on with the girls, the San Benito, the teenage girls? There's girls as young as 13 years old who are pregnant and then taken out of places like Minnesota and transferred to Texas, where they have no access to reproductive care, including abortion, if they need to, because. And there's the idea that but they're also more than an hour away from any health services. Do you have any updates on or any familiarity with these cases?
I have a lot of familiarity, but no updates. I mean, it's part of the tragedy of what's going on. And, the gestation period in humans is not a secret. It's 9 months. They have girls and women that are there for an excess of that. The government says that they were raped en route in their journey to the United States, but that can't possibly be true based on the gestation period in humans.
Yeah.
So it's and then denied access to attorneys, and visitation is very difficult. It's another human rights abuse that's going on with girls.
Well, there was one legislator that was trying to have access to meet with the girls, and they were told that there were 17, and then they were told there were 7, and then they were told, oh, we don't have anybody. Like, this is what they're encountering when they go.
No transparency.
And you've been to Dilley as well, which is one of the worst locations in the country.
Been protesting at Dilley, and that's made some national news for the little boy with, I forgot his name now, but that was kept there, finally released, but based on a judge's order who excoriated the government, which we've seen in court orders, across the country, where federal judges have excoriated the United States attorneys for what they're misrepresenting to the courts. And we've already seen, so many lawyers in the Trump orbit who have been disbarred, not just Rudy Giuliani, but other lawyers, and it's going to continue. Right now, I think the count is up to 22 lawyers associated with the Trump administration have either been disbarred, sanctioned, or are facing ethical violations, but that list is going to grow enormously.
We were talking before you arrived about what's happening in other parts of the state. I mean, in Illinois, because Bavino isn't out there with his cosplay Nazi his long flowing coat and just his bravado all over the area. But in areas outside of Chicago and even in Chicago, we've seen some elements of like trying to drive people off the road and instigate a situation where law enforcement has to get involved. They're showing up now in courtrooms instead, aren't they?
It's against the rules, and as soon as I, come up for air, I'm so busy with everything. I want to be at the courthouses and challenge them on that directly, face to face. I've told you I've, been arrested multiple times. I've been attacked by ICE, and I think for all of us, we need to do what we can do. Whatever your level of comfort is, mine is sort of on a different scale than other people, and that's fine. But, as we've been saying, do something. Don't just watch what our government is doing, and especially at the local level as well.
Well, you ladies both mentioned before Rob came in studio the kids are they're terrified, right?
Yes, kids. Well, and families in general are upset. We have. I've even had people in the community come to me and ask me about the Safe Schools for All Act that is just went into effect, where school districts have to have policies that are in effect right now, and what is the responsibility of the Regional Office of Education in terms of enforcing that? And there really isn't necessarily a responsibility unless something is really going wrong. But the job, as I've mentioned already, is about providing support and resources when school districts need help. But again, I know for a fact that there are families who are pulling their kids out of school because they're afraid to send them, because they don't know what's going to be happening at their schools. Are there going to be agents outside waiting for them when they go to pick their children up for school? Things like that.
That's terrifying.
I'm wondering, does your school district have a policy with respect to outsiders, whether they're federal agents, quote unquote, or not?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how the schools are dealing with that.
Yes, we do. When this first started, we did have, we had guidance. Before a policy was created, we got guidance from our school board and our superintendent. And then now policy is being enacted as required by the Safe Schools for All Act.
Can agents come into a school?
No, because they can't know, because it means students, we can't ask them what their status is. We can't ask for social security numbers, all of that. So we can't deny them education. But no, we are not allowing outsiders to come in.
Excellent. Yeah. And what are you hearing from your community members watching it on the news or social media, worried about what happens if it escalates in Woodstock?
There is a general fear, although I will say this. Woodstock is slightly different than the surrounding community in all of McHenry County. It's a special place where people support each other and come out for each other in ways that you don't necessarily see in some of the other municipalities, villages, towns, and cities within the county itself. McHenry County has historically been extremely conservative, a Republican stronghold for decades, and for whatever reason, maybe it's because it's the county seat, maybe it's just because of its artistic eclecticism, whatever it is, Woodstock is its own sort of purple bubble. I would say even leans a little bit more progressive in its values. So when you hear things about, I'll give this example, when everything was at its height, I'm talking Broadview, I'm talking ICE was showing up in force, Bovino, it was all over the news last summer, right? Mexican Independence Day celebration on the Woodstock Square, which is one of the largest, most well-attended. It is a celebration never to be missed. There were rumors going on, maybe they won't do it. Guess what? They did it. And it was incredible. The number of people almost came out. It felt like it was even larger because it was a show of support by the community. We are not going to be bullied. We will not be intimidated. And the event went off swimmingly, smoothly. It was a great celebration, and to see that kind of rallying of our community is it's so spectacular. Now, is there an undercurrent of some fear? There is, but there's also an undercurrent, almost an underground movement of what do we do when? Let's get ourselves into a position. There are allies ready to make moves if the time comes. And I'll leave it at that.
That's Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba, who serves Woodstock, Illinois. You can find her on all the social media platforms, particularly LinkedIn, where she is going to teach me how to use that platform, because it's just a placeholder now to say, I don't even know what I'm doing.
We've discussed this prior.
I know. I need some counseling. It's okay. I need some guidance. We also have in studio with us Dr. Bridget Belcastro, who's running to be the superintendent of McHenry County Schools. She was the elementary principal of the year in 2024, and has has expertise. She has a vision for the schools of McHenry County. We also have in studio with us the president of Chicago Council of Lawyers, Rob Held. And if you're on social media at all and you've been watching what's happening in Broadview and with ICE and the concentration camps across the country, I'm sure you've seen his work. In particular, I love when he reminded everybody that we all have a Second Amendment right. And if they're going to bust down a door, let's talk a little bit about issues like that when we come back, because what happened in Biddeford and what we've learned afterwards about this guy's history of domestic violence is absolutely terrifying, of who they are recruiting and hiring within ICE. If you want to text 773-763-9278, that's 773-763-9278. More after this on WCPT, KKNW, and all of our friends tuning in on social media and all the platforms. We appreciate you.
Stephanie Miller here. I am shooting the proverbial poop with guess who? The tummy whisperer. Yep, Renee Barish of Digestive Health Solutions. Renee, there's lots of confusion about food and diet these days. What brings people to you, and how do you help them sort it out?
Great question. People come to me with a garden variety of digestive issues, including bloating, constipation, diarrhea, and heartburn. But the fun doesn't stop there. So many people bypass these symptoms and exhibit skin conditions, low energy, and poor sleep.
Okay, then what?
Well, I provide expert navigation with diet as well as sensitive testing for your digestion and microbiome. These tests provide clear data about what's happening in your body. And now with this info, I create a go-forward plan to help you feel better.
That's great. Thanks.
Thank you, Mama.
You can talk to Renee at 847-207-2034 or visit thetummywhisperer.com. That's 847-207-2034. Just ask for Renee. 847-207-2034.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call and click Grainger.com or just stop by.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. The U.S. military says it's fired on another merchant vessel trying to breach its blockade of Iranian ports. U.S. forces have also been carrying out strikes across Iran, while Iranian forces have targeted neighboring countries that host U.S. troops. President Trump.
But they do want to make a deal. Sometimes they don't want to say they want to make a deal. They want to be the tough guys. But they do want to make a deal.
After a big spike yesterday, oil prices eased. The international standard Brent crude fell almost 4% to settle just below $97 per barrel. Meanwhile, there's another trade dispute stirring.
President Donald Trump says the United States will open a formal investigation into the EU's trade practices, saying that the bloc unfairly levied billions of dollars of fines against Google, Apple, and other U.S. tech giants. The Republican president made the announcement a day after the EU hit Google with a fine of $1 billion. The EU says Google broke digital antitrust regulations by setting up Google Play and its ubiquitous search engine to corral consumers towards its own services and apps to the detriment of its competitors. Haya Panjwani, Washington.
And wildfires are raging out of control in France and Spain. Charles Delatesma reports some 200,000 people are being evacuated.
3 declared wildfires approach properties in the southwest zone of the Madrid region. Emergency services battle the blazes in San Martin, Villa del Prado and Pelayos de la Presa. The Madrid 112 emergency service issued an alert at around midnight local time that the region is in a critical situation of multiple forest fires of an extreme nature. Meanwhile, France is faring little better in the summer's dry extreme heat. Intense fires are raging near the Arcachon basin in Gironde, southwestern France, and have burned over 20,000 acres, prompting the evacuation of tens of thousands of people, including several villages on the Cap Ferret Peninsula. I'm Charles Delatesma.
This is AP News. LeBron James taking his talents to Philadelphia this time.
The 4-time NBA champion called it his last decision, and that it comes after he strongly considered retirement.
I heard Warriors, I heard Philly.
James talked last month about the speculation.
This guy just told me to come to the Yankees.
LeBron James says he believes he can help make the Philadelphia 76ers a championship team. The 41-year-old also feels he has something to prove.
I seen something on social media the other day that wherever I go, that we may be in the play-in or something, and I'm not a factor anymore, so I get that as well, too. So that's just a little motivation.
ESPN reports James's 2-year deal in Philadelphia is worth a modest $8 million. Teammates will include fellow All-Stars Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Jaylen Brown. I'm Ed Donahue.
The latest at apnews.com. I'm Ben Thomas. Thanks for listening.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller in the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 66 degrees and winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10. Saturday, lots of sunshine, high temperature of 81, and southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Sunday, partly sunny and warmer with a high of 91 degrees, southwest winds at 10 to 20. Monday, chance of thunderstorms and a high of 92. Tuesday, sunshine with a high temperature of 83. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 79.
Latinos have been here always, before, during, and after the founding of the United States. We are small business owners rising before dawn to power the economy. Hands that pick, manage, and prepare the food that nourishes America. Builders of our homes, our cities, our roads, our communities. Workers who labor daily to strengthen the very fabric of our nation. We are caregivers, teachers, doctors, engineers, neighbors, families raising the next generation. Latinos contribute over $4 trillion to America's GDP, bringing promise, innovation, and vitality to every corner of the U.S. We are the backbone, an indelible part of the American story. We are America. America is us. Learn more by going to americaisus.org and discover how Latinos have shaped America's journey and continue to forge its future.
Chicago's progressive talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal out of Chicago. Of course, we want to say hello to our friends who are tuning in on KKNW 1150 in Seattle, KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Hello to our friends who are tuning in digitally on Facebook, YouTube, and of course on Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack. We want to thank our friends who sponsor the show. Source Solar. Go to source.solar. Make an appointment with Peter Sorellis. Maybe it's time to get solar panels on your house or business. Peter will walk you through the entire process. Thank you to our friends at Pride Coffee Roasters. Go to pridecoffeeroasters.com. Put in an order for the absolute best single origin roasted to order coffee beans you have ever had. And you can see them and meet them in person and try their coffee right at the Farmers Market, the Jefferson Park Sunday Market this Sunday from 9:30 to 1:30. I will be volunteering, and there's gonna be so much great music, community. There's a lot of work that is created by artists, local business owners. You've got your produce, you've got your incredible meats and eggs from Finn's. Please come out and join us at the Jefferson Park Sunday Market. That's over there at Lawrence and Long, right across the street from the Jefferson Park Library and Post Office. So thank you so much to our friends at Pride Coffee Roasters for being such a great sponsor of the show. And of course, Minocqua Brewing Company, Kirk Bangstad, who was in studio yesterday, has been sharing a lot of great work. Please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com and go to MinocquaMarketplace.com as well. We've created sort of a marketplace for business owners to challenge the status quo and the MAGA support that is shown by the folks at Amazon. So please go to MinocquaMarketplace.com and do some of your shopping there. In particular, items like you might find today featured on the Substack from Minocqua Brewing Company, which is an incredible line of stir sessions. It is these powdered mixes for drinks, and you don't have to drink alcohol with it. You can make a great daiquiri. Maybe you want to have a Mai Tai or a margarita. It's really fantastic stuff. At any rate, I also want to thank our guests in studio. Joining me in studio, we have a councilwoman for Woodstock, Illinois, Natalie Ziemba joins us. You've heard her regularly on my show, and more regularly even on Richard Chu's show, Chu's Views, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. She's willing to drive all the way to the northwest side of Chicago, no matter what time of day. So thank you so much, Natalie, for joining us again.
I love being in studio, and these are my old stomping grounds. I had an apartment in Jefferson Park for 7 years when I was teaching up here on the northwest side.
I wish I'd known you better. We could have gone out and hung out at Windsor or maybe at the Gale Street.
I used to sit there and grade papers.
That's right. You said you knew exactly where I was when we shared that photo.
George, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Miss George.
I know.
Stories for another time.
Yep.
We also have in studio with us Dr. Bridget Belcastro, who's running for Superintendent at McHenry County Schools. Thank you so much for joining us as well. And joining us is Rob Held, who I became a super fangirl of last year when he was standing in front of just rows of law enforcement in front, standing up for the protesters, doing what our law enforcement should do, which is protecting our citizens of the United States rather than the lawless thugs that are running around with badges and cosplaying as law enforcement. Hi, Rob.
Hi. Yeah, they're armed to the teeth, and
Yes.
I was trying to do what they should have done, which is to de-escalate.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be the case at all anymore. I mean, it's absolutely jaw-dropping to me. And that's what we were talking about was, the fact that they're not following the law. We were talking about how they're just busting down doors. Do you remember my God, how does time move? Mm-hmm. January, when Renee Good was murdered in Minnesota, in between all of that, Stephen Miller was saying that they have full immunity, they won't be charged. J.D. Vance said they wouldn't be charged. And I don't think people remember this. He said they wanted to hire more law enforcement in order to go door to door. It wasn't, I didn't edit it. He said go door to door, which was terrifying and is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, what's embedded in our Constitution is the right of everyone to be free from search and seizure, not just in your person, but obviously in your home. I mean, our laws come from England, where a man's home is his castle. And there's a reason for that phrase, is because if they don't have a judicial warrant or exigent circumstances, they can't bust down your door, and you don't have to open the door, and you don't have to respond to them. And they create dangerous situations for their young, poorly trained, poorly led agents who think that they have, as you said, absolute immunity. They don't have absolute immunity, but that's what's happened. And we create these dangerous situations. And I've said for a long time that people are going to get hurt. It's possible for people to get killed. And I'm not just talking about immigrants. I'm talking about these young, poorly trained agents.
Yes.
Terrible. It's terrible.
And you mentioned in the last hour about accountability. I like accountability better. Like sometimes, I don't know if you guys have heard this, like history will show, like who cares? Like history has shown that Reagan was completely wrong, right? And has decimated our working class. It's what's happening right now. And accountability is not even strong enough of a word, but I'll take it. But there is no statute of limitations for murder, for killing somebody. Do you feel that enough evidence is being preserved? I just found out that the state of Minnesota just got Renee Good's car after it was sealed for months.
What's going on is crazy. I mean, you have, news organizations are using, very subdued language.
Yes.
And you have, people like myself that are lawyers that speak in lawyer speak. Stop it. We can call murder, because that's what it is. Silverio Gonzalez, you mentioned before in the show, he was murdered. And finally, the state police are conducting an investigation. Finally, now. Yes, no charges yet. And then you talked about Miramar Martinez, shot 5 times by an ICE agent who bragged about putting holes in her body, who lied about what happened. He rammed his car into hers, and then his car disappeared immediately after. We can't do investigations because the federal government is protecting and encouraging agents to break the law, hide evidence, and lie.
And when we see, when these agents see that it takes so long, they think that it is okay. It's not that we have this accountability yet. And so they're like, oh, well, I just will get away with it. And that is what is allowing this behavior to continue with these federal agents.
And when I'm at Broadview, when I'm on the Bullhorn, and I see agents coming and going, I say, we have your biometric data. You will be held accountable. You will be investigated, you'll be prosecuted, and if you're found guilty, you will go to jail. And I have that same message for Tom Homan. I have that same message for everyone in the administration who is breaking the law and encouraging others to do so. They will go to jail if they're found guilty.
I appreciate that. Again, Rob Held is the president of the Chicago Council of Lawyers. There was what is happening at the airports? Because that was a day that, when you talk about do what you can, I felt that I felt that this needed to be documented. So when I saw you go live, I got on the Blue Line and I went out to O'Hare Airport, and it was weird. I mean, it is sort of, the first day there weren't signs, and then the next day there were signs about how if you have no business to be at the airport, you're not allowed to be here, kind of thing, which I had never. I've been going to that airport since I was 14 and the blue line extended all the way to Concourse, right there in the middle of Terminal 2. I had never heard that before until that, we wanted to record everything. Where are we with the airports right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the airports right now. I've been a little bit under a shell with a trial that I've been for several weeks now. But, if you think about what the government is doing and what the ICE is doing, a lot of it is just for show. And I think that's what was happening at the airports, some months back. But if you think about remember when Border Patrol first came to Chicago, they came into the city and walked around the north side. There was no crime.
They were on the
going
river. Remember, they were posing on the bow of the boats, and
And that's what Bovino has been all about, and the administration to a certain degree. Now, what they've tried to do is be less visible so that we can let our guard down. But the fact is, they have arbitrary numbers that they're trying to achieve. We want to arrest 2,000 per day nationwide. Where does that number come from? And what have these people done wrong? I want to emphasize that being in this country without documents is a civil offense. Repeat for emphasis. So people are getting murdered for committing a civil offense. I used to have, when I was very young, have a debate about whether police can shoot a fleeing felon. But that's not even what we're talking about. We're talking about people who want to get away from masked agents with no uniform, no insignia, no name tag, unmarked vehicles, sometimes without license plates, with no flashing lights that are chasing them down. I myself, Rob Held, I am not going to stop for a vehicle that's unmarked with no identification, no flashing lights. I'm driving, and I did it recently because I was followed by an ICE agent who, after I left the facility, and I just drove right to a police station.
Nice.
Once I drove in, the ICE agent kept going.
Isn't that what you feel like when you're watching some of these videos? Is you should be able to call the police and say someone's being kidnapped. So go ahead.
That's what I feel. I feel like it's a kidnapping. It's if somebody with a mask who has no identification jumps out of an unmarked vehicle and goes to grab you, you are being kidnapped.
Yeah.
That
seems like a movie.
It's almost like, is it the cartel or is it an ICE agent? I don't know.
Well, that was part of the story with the gentleman who was killed in Houston, was that he was afraid of being carjacked. And I don't know. I mean, how are you supposed to distinguish? You're supposed to assume that they're law enforcement. Now, running for office in McHenry County or in serving McHenry County, how do you thread the needle with the conversations? You mentioned that it's purple. So you're getting folks coming up to you with a wide range of opinions. What are some of the ways in which you try to have a conversation with somebody who doesn't agree with you when what you want to do is serve the community and in particular the children of McHenry County?
Well, I try to keep it focused on that. My job as regional superintendent of schools, if I win, isn't really focused on some of the issues that they are most concerned about in terms of economics. I don't have a lot of control over that. I wouldn't have anything to do with their property taxes or the sales tax or things like that. So I really try to focus on, or even girls' sports, and trans athletes. That is not something that the Regional Office of Education deals with. And so I really tried to keep things focused on what the Regional Office of Education can do. And again, focusing on supporting schools and working together with the superintendents, because that's what the superintendents are telling me that they want. They want to work with a regional superintendent together who wants to work collaboratively.
And Councilwoman, what kind of conversations do you try to make sure you're, informing your constituents and at the same time, also impressing upon them the role that you play?
Yes, I think I always try to emphasize, look around you in the immediate area. That's what I can help make decisions about. I am here to help with things like ordinances. I'm trying to do things about rezoning, redevelopment agreements. Right now, we're going through a debate about TIF. Explaining in a very simplistic way what TIF even is. It's issues like that. I'm here to help with things, your local roads. I can't help with what IDOT is doing on Route 47 right now, but what we can do is help with communication from City Hall to our constituents. I can help control some of that and what goes on there. I can have conversations with our chief of police and with our officers. Anything that is within just very local. If you need a pothole fixed, you can contact us. But if you want to get into a debate about the Second Amendment, I'm not going to be your person to get into that debate with. So there's certain things that there's so many layers of bureaucracy in government that people just really don't understand. because civics has been removed from our educational system back to education. People don't have adequate language or knowledge of what is governed by local municipalities. Then you go in a concentric circle out. What does your county control? What does your let me take that back. Municipality to your township, then to your county, then to your region, then to places like Springfield. Now we're getting into areas like up one more level to your national electeds. Go door to door and ask people, who is your senator in Springfield?
Yeah.
Who is your representative in Springfield? 9 out of 10 people won't be able to even answer that. So people don't understand, and I'm not blaming them. It's just we lack the proper terminology and the way to explain where certain laws. Who are your taxing bodies? That's another, wow, what a discussion. Look at your property tax bill. They want to blame the city of Woodstock or their local municipality on my taxes are going up. Have you looked at your property tax bill
They
lately?
want to blame the schools.
Yeah.
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 We should be putting more money in schools. I mean, we've got to get our young people better educated, becoming better citizens.
That's right.
Having more civic engagement and being aware of local and national issues.
That's why they want to take money away from schools, is because, an educated citizenry is something that they don't want.
Threatening.
That's right.
It's dangerous.
They think it's dangerous.
That's crazy.
Well, that was the whole thing with Ronald Reagan. They said if you have an educated proletariat, Republicans will start losing elections, and so here we are. Oh yeah, that was the whole thing. Let's take a break here. We're in studio with our guests having a wonderful conversation. We have in studio with us Rob Held, who's the president of the Chicago Council of Lawyers. Sorry, I had to pull the website back up. Go to chicagocouncil.org to learn about the work that they are doing. It's not a traditional bar association. They're a member-based organization whose focus is on the benefit of non-members, in particular poor and disadvantaged individuals.
And we're progressive.
And they're progressive. I like it. So go to chicagocouncil.org and follow Rob Held 1 on all the social media platforms, because you will learn a lot about what it's like to be on the front lines at these concentration camps across the country. We also have in studio with us Bridget Belcastro, who's running for superintendent of McHenry County Schools. You can go to bridgetbelcastro.com to learn more about her campaign and support her. If you live in the area and you're impressed by what she has to say, log in or check in with the events coming up, volunteer, contribute to her campaign, because that's how you get things across the finish line, as our guest Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba knows, serving Woodstock, Illinois, and excited to hang out with you guys on August 7th for the fair. Actually runs in McHenry County from August 4th through the 9th. Go to McHenryCountyFair.com. Is there anything else I need to say? Okay, I have to take a break now. Hi, everybody on KKNW and KTNF and also WCPT and all the digital media platforms. The phone lines are open. Please try to keep the conversation. Oh, yeah, this will stay on topic. If you can, and if you can tell what the topic is anymore, but in particular when it comes to education, we're talking about our local electeds, and we're talking about the federal administration's overreach, the lack of a law following individuals as part of ICE. So give us a call, 773-763-9278. More after this.
Hi, this is Tom Hartman. Sandra is a 73-year-old widow with $1.4 million in retirement savings. In 2025, she took her first required minimum distribution. That RMD pushed her into a higher bracket, increased her Medicare premiums, and caused $31,000 in needless taxes. Her advisor doesn't handle taxes, and her accountant only prepares returns. She felt alone and neglected. Sandra then met with Brookfield Tax Planning for a free, objective, second opinion tax review. They showed Sandra how she could legally reduce required minimum distribution and other taxes by over $13,000 this year and every year with lower Medicare premiums. Think about what you could do with all that extra money. Schedule a free, no-obligation second opinion tax review now. Once 2026 is over, tax savings opportunities are gone. Schedule your free review now. Visit BrookfieldTaxPlanning.com or call 708-485-3439. That's BrookfieldTaxPlanning.com, 708-485-3439.
A message from Tia Mori, actress and Fair Celebrity Ambassador.
Game day isn't staged. It's lived. It's the shopping, the cooking, the laughter. For families managing food allergy, that same spirit of preparation means everything. Because food allergy isn't a lifestyle. It's a serious, life-threatening disease that can change everything in a moment. But being ready changes the story. It's knowing the signs, having a plan, and carrying epinephrine everywhere life takes you. Epinephrine is the only treatment that can stop a severe food allergy reaction known as anaphylaxis. It works quickly to reverse the symptoms and can save lives. As families and friends gather for the big game, we see what community looks like. It's one built on awareness, care, and love in action. Because readiness doesn't take away the risk. It brings back the joy. When you're ready to act, you're ready to live.
Visit foodallergy.org/ready to act to learn more.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
I have a few more minutes left with my guests in the studio. It's been such a great conversation. I feel like we should reconvene in a few weeks. Come
I'd
back.
love it.
Yeah. Please do. You know what Rob Held? Go follow him at Rob Held1, president of the Chicago Council of Lawyers, chicagocouncil.org for more information. I feel like you need to go to the McHenry County Fair if you've got relatives that live out there.
I would love to do that.
I'll be there.
Love it.
I'll have you on the air, me and Natalie, and,
That would be amazing.
and Dr. Belcastro. We could have you. We're going to have a tent. We'll be there broadcasting live from 5 to 7.
Awesome.
August 7th. How far away is the Metro from the fairgrounds? I'll have to take
Pretty
an Uber.
close. It's walkable. It would be a little bit of a hike, but you could do it. My only issue is there's not adequate pedestrian right of way.
Right.
So that would be an issue.
Which you mean is there's no sidewalks?
Correct.
Go ahead, Rob.
Take an Uber.
Uber. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Uber. Bring my
Ditto.
bike.
Find a friend.
Find
phone
a friend.
Phone a friend.
Hey,
Hey, can
now.
you pick me up?
You're right. Can you come get me? I love Metro. I do. I really do. It's
Me
so
too.
much fun.
Me
And
too.
right to downtown Woodstock when you're. I mean, you're
It
a
is
block
right
away.
there.
At any rate, I do want to mention something that's happening this weekend before I take a phone call. There is an event in. There's a woman who's written a book about Route 66 and sort of this intersection of Route 66 and that history, as well as women's history. There's going to be an event at Emerald and Amethyst Bookstore in Lexington, Illinois. That's at 316 West Main Street. And Cheryl Eicher Jett is going to be signing tomorrow, Saturday, July 25th. She'll have a book signing from 1 to 3. The event is free and open to the public. And this is, it ties Chicago to Los Angeles, but also labor history, women's history. So I'm really excited to have her on the show next week. We'll talk to her, but I wanted you to know about the book signing. It's called Aprons Away, Women's Work on Route 66. Very excited about that. We also have in studio with us Dr. Bridget Belcastro, who's running for superintendent of McHenry County Schools. And we have Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba, who has served the Woodstock, Illinois community for several years now. This is your second term?
I'm coming to the end of my first term.
Okay.
So my election is in the off years. So municipal elections typically happen in the off years, meaning odd numbers. So if I decide to run again, then my election would happen in 2027.
I gotcha. Well, then we look forward to making sure that people know about the work that you've done and what you want to continue to do.
Thank you.
You can go to BridgetBelcastro.com to learn more about her campaign. And if you're watching, you can see how to spell her name right there. Belcastro is her last name. Jim from Chicago is on the line, joining the conversation. Jim, what's on your mind, my friend?
As long as the topic is education, I was going to point out the Rhodes Scholar who was in charge of it, Linda McMahon. I'm sure that she's been to the highest universities, and a wrestler extraordinaire. And real quick, Patty, I know you have a great weekend of your guests, but one of your guests thought she went to Dominican University. I went to Rosary. It was Rosary then, and it was the first time they went co-ed. It was the early 70s. I have fond memories of it. The nuns that they had there. Now it's Dominican. But it's a mess. It's a mess. She came to Chicago and made some decree in this ridiculous outfit, like was from the Victorian age, and said some silly things, and then just left, and that was it. And you talk about Mayor Johnson. I think Mayor Johnson, first of all, he spent $650 million to shelter those poor immigrants who were brought up from Texas. He's bent over backwards for education. I know that we've got 99 people running for mayor, so everybody's got an opinion, I suppose. But as far as progressive mayor, he's the most progressive mayor that I've experienced. Anyway, you guys have a great Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Jim. One of the other things about, as you mentioned, the Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, when she was about to be appointed, they asked her about special education, for and IEPs and things like that. She's like, we're going to make sure it's fun. And they're putting the Department of, when it comes to people with disabilities, under labor. Special education is being put under labor, which I couldn't even, what? So tell me a little bit about the sort of vision you have for special education and for diverse learners in McHenry County.
Well, again, that's probably something that's really more handled under individual school districts. And again, about support, providing support. And one of the things that I really want to focus on with our local school districts would be, what do you need? Are you struggling in terms
right.
One of the biggest things that we are facing everywhere in Illinois is teacher shortage and funding. And both of those things actually relate very much to special education, because that teacher shortage, most of those are made up by special education. It's a hard job. And bless everybody who goes into that, really. And my staff, shout out, because we have some great ones in my building. But that's how I think school districts could work together to provide, we don't need a full-time PT, but two districts could work together. And I know that happens to an extent, but when you have something going through maybe the regional office, maybe that's something that could work a little bit more smoothly.
Absolutely. I do have one more segment for about 8 minutes. I don't know if my guests all want to stay until 6:40. Rob, do you need to run?
I'd love to stay.
Yay!
Thank you.
We're all hanging out for another segment.
Yes.
And then I have a recorded interview with Alex Papadopoulos to talk about the stock market and investing and retiring and all those things. That'll come up in about 10 minutes. So our phone lines are open, 773-763-9278. We'll take a break here with my guest, Rob Held. He's Rob Held1 on all the social media platforms. He's also the president of the Chicago Council of Lawyers. Go to chicagocouncil.org to learn more about the work that they do. We also want to thank our friend, Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba, who's in studio. You can follow her on all the social media platforms, in particular LinkedIn. She's the only person I know who's proud of their LinkedIn page, so now I probably have to check that out. No, I think that what you mentioned last time you were here was that you find it to be a very useful tool in communicating with folks and explaining the work that you do. Yeah. So go to LinkedIn and find Natalie Ziemba, Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba. We also have in studio with us Dr. Bridget Belcastro. She's running for Regional Superintendent of Schools. I've been saying it wrong and realized the sign's right behind her. I didn't need to guess anymore. McHenry County Regional Superintendent of Schools. Go to BridgetBelcastro.com to learn more about her campaign. More in a moment on WCPT, KKNW, KTNF, and hello to everyone listening digitally or watching digitally on Facebook, YouTube, and Minocqua Brewing Company Substack.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago weather update.
I'm meteorologist Ray Miller in the Weatherology Weather Center. Clear skies tonight with a low temperature of 66 degrees and winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10. Saturday, lots of sunshine, high temperature of 81, and southwest winds at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Sunday, partly sunny and warmer with a high of 91 degrees, southwest winds at 10 to 20. Monday, chance of thunderstorms and a high of 92. Tuesday, sunshine with a high temperature of 83. That's the latest Chicago weather update. Right now, it's 78.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Latinos have been here always, before, during, and after the founding of the United States. We are small business owners, teachers, farm workers, doctors and engineers, families raising the next generation. Latinos contribute over $4 trillion to America's GDP. We are an indelible part of the American story. We are America. America is us. Learn more by going to americasus.org and discover how Latinos have shaped America's past and are forging its future.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or
and Pete.
No detours, no distractions. Just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Well, now it's a party.
Oh, yeah. Party.
In studio, we're about to wrap up before we play a recorded interview I have with Alex Papadopoulos from Egéa Investing. We have in studio with us Dr. Bridget Belcastro, who's running for Regional Superintendent of Schools in McHenry County. Rob Held, it's Rob Held 1 on all the social media platforms. He's now the president of Chicago Council of Lawyers. Go to chicagocouncil.org to learn more about the work that he does. Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba, who you can follow on LinkedIn because she's crazy proud about that, and she'll have to tell me why in the days and weeks to come. But you can also find her on all the social media platforms. Also, that's Kirk Bangstad, who made it. He promised he would be here by 6:30, and you made it, Kirk. How are you doing? From Minocqua Brewing Company.
It's a party.
Were you sampling some of your products?
I might have been dealing with some alcohol people in the industry before I came here today.
He was very. So I've been telling him about some of the organizations, including ICIRR in Chicago and the bail organizations, bond organizations,
Midwest Bond,
and he made donations yesterday.
Thank you.
And we'll be collaborating with them as well. And you were one of the first people I talked to him about. So he was partly racing to get here to meet you, Rob. Yes, just want to let you know because I do fangirl. Like I saw Natalie fangirl over. It's weird. I like you on social media. Like I love this person, and then you're all in studio, so this is fun.
What a great group photo this is going to be.
Oh yeah,
yes.
I think we got to go to Gale Street after this.
Okay, sweetie, I'm going to Gale Street. Okay. So my husband listens to the show.
Bridget, you're going to Gale Street with me.
That's Bridget. Oh, sorry, there's Bridget right there. So first of all, before we get going, Kirk, what do you want to catch us up on? Anything? Any announcements you want to make? We can't talk about anything new yet, but
no. We just talked yesterday. I'm in Chicago for 3 days to make relationships with the real resistance fighters on the ground who are doing the hard work, who are generally a generation younger than I am, so that we raise the money, we help them do what they want to do, because I'm no longer of an age where I'm. Apparently, you're the guy though that's older than me.
That's right.
That is still on the front lines, and that's why I wanted to meet you, because I'm like, that takes a lot.
Give us the website or how we can make a contribution.
Minocqua Marketplace is 120 progressive businesses who we've collected, and everything we sell on the Minocqua Marketplace, a percentage of those profits will go to fund these immigration groups that are on the front lines in Chicago. And we're doing the same thing in Minneapolis as well.
The sign behind me is from Liberal Lawn, so we won't go quietly back to the 1950s. That's available. They've got some great lawn signs. They've got a lot of FDT signs. They've got a lot of ice out, all the elements of that. There's also Bloop detergent, which I got my stone fruit version of. Got just a lot of great companies that I'm so proud to support. Before we go, I want to make sure everyone has a chance to share anything before, let folks know, Bridget Belcastro, you are running to be the Regional Superintendent of Schools for McHenry County. Tell folks why you are the candidate who can help your community the most.
Oh, well, first of all, as I said, I have over 30 years of experience. You've generously mentioned several times I'm the 2024 Illinois Elementary Principal of the Year. I've worked a lot with the Illinois Principals Association, but I've worked in McHenry County Schools for 24 years, and I know the principals, I know the superintendents, I know the families in many communities, and I'm doing the work right now that needs to be done. So I think that there's a lot to be said for that. Yeah, just check out my website, check out my Facebook page. And you know what? One other thing, elect local Democrats. I think that's really important. As Natalie said earlier, just voting for your local people is really clear, and vote all the way down the ballot.
Outstanding. And Rob Held, president of Chicago Council of Lawyers, you mentioned earlier that you want to give people some hope. What do you want to share with them and what they should be doing right now in any way they can?
Everybody can do something. The administration will be held accountable. And I'll be at Broadview along with hundreds of people tomorrow at noon, Broadview ICE Detention Facility, making our voices heard. Join us.
Outstanding. And Councilwoman Natalie Ziemba, what do you want to share with your community of Woodstock, Illinois?
All government is local. Get involved however, Rob said this earlier, however you feel comfortable, whether that's on your social media platforms, showing up in person, giving money to your local candidates who are running like Dr. Belcastro. Get involved somehow. Show up. If you're not comfortable door knocking, that's okay. We have friends that are. And so, but we need the money, and donations are really important. So even if it's $10 or $15, and show up to the events where we are.
Yes.
I think that's so important. And one other thing I want to mention about local government, walking into a council meeting, your village board, your county board, going to the microphone, that's where you're heard. It's not as easy to get in front of your national politicians, your senators in D.C., or your representatives in D.C., or even here in Springfield, in your state capitals. But your local government officials are accessible. We have meetings every other week that are open to the public. So show up, get on those microphones, get your voices heard. It's critical right now.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I'll be at the Jefferson Park Sunday Market this Sunday, 9:30 to 8:30. And, of course, go to Minocqua Brewing Company Marketplace, MinocquaMarketplace.com. Put your money where your values are. And up next, our interview with Alex Papadopoulos. Thank you, Lady B.
WCPT replay.
We are proud to have U.S. Representative Nikki Baczynski with us here this morning.
I think we should be talking to voters about the fact that it is Democrats that are fighting to make your life better. We are the party that is protecting the working people, the retirees in this country. It is not the other side who is standing with the MAGA billionaires in this country, trying to get them a lower tax rate. That's who they are. We are for fighting to improve your everyday life, and we have plans that are going to do that. And I think we need to focus on the everyday costs that people are facing. It's truly what I believe Trump sold as a snake oil salesman to voters that he was going to tackle on day one. And you and I both know that that's the last thing he's been doing. He hasn't done a damn thing.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Hi, I'm Tim Meadows. You've heard the phrase out with the old and in with the new, right? Well, buckle up because Stand Up to Cancer's vehicle donation program makes it easy to turn your old vehicle into new life-saving cancer research. More than 2 million Americans hear the words, "You have cancer," each year. That's why Stand Up to Cancer is dedicated to funding cancer research focused on finding cures. Donating is easy, pickup is free, and your gift may qualify for a tax deduction. Visit standuptocancer.org/cars to learn more.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
No detours, no distractions, just bold ideas and real talk. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us. We continue our conversation here on Driving It Home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, and hello to all of our friends who are tuning in on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, KKNW 1150 in Seattle, and of course, all of our friends who are tuning in digitally on Facebook, on YouTube, and now Minocqua Brewing Company's Substack, where you can also find some great products on the marketplace to challenge those big box corporations who are donating to people you might not want them to donate to. We also want to thank our friends who are tuning in digitally on our platform, Heartland and signal.com, where you can find all of our shows live and podcast. And if you haven't checked out our Facebook page, please consider subscribing and liking and sharing with your community. Some of you might know that I get really stressed out talking about money, but it always helps to talk to experts who are interested in making sure that you are putting your money where your values are as well. We're so excited to talk to our friend Alex Papadopoulos, who's the president of Egéa Wealth Management. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a while. I apologize for being so lapse in talking to you.
No worries. I'm glad to be back.
Excellent to have you. Tell us a little bit about the idea. I think people now well, let me ask you, are people more than ever looking for socially responsible investing?
They are. I think we live in the age of consumerism, where people are paying attention to how they spend their dollars, where they go shopping. And another piece of that is how people invest. And so I'm here to tell people that your sustainable investments make a difference when it comes to the economy and what's important to you.
And the thing is that, so what would be socially responsible? Because I know that, right now on social media, you have all these talking heads. I mean, that's where people are getting a lot of their information. You know, the people who tell you to go into ETFs and index and all these things. And a lot of it just kind of is a lot of noise. So tell us what socially responsible looks like.
Sure. So socially responsible or sustainable investing is just like all other types of investments. It starts with asset allocation, diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Know your time horizon, know your risk tolerance. So that's where it starts. On top of traditional investing, we add an additional layer, which is called ESG investing. And so we look at how companies are scoring on the environment, how they're doing on social issues, and how they're doing on governance issues within their company.
And so are there any sort of standards that a company must meet? Are there any regulations in order to call yourself a socially responsible company?
Sure. So this is where things get a little bit hazy. ESG, there's not one governing body that monitors ESG. There's different rating companies that assign scores to how companies are performing. And so when it comes to the environment, generally speaking, a company that performs well is going to demonstrate that they're better managed. They're not getting fined as much by the government, or well, they used to get fined by the government, not as much anymore. But they tend to have less lawsuits. They tend to have better brand name when they're not getting attacked for the environment. When it comes to social issues, we're looking at companies that are paying employees a living wage, and how are they dealing with the community at large. I think we've all worked for companies that aren't paying their employees enough, and we know what the morale is like in those companies. So it's just common sense that you would want to be investing in a company that pays their employees well. And then G, governance, we're looking for companies that have diversity in leadership. We want to have women and minorities in decision-making positions. And so we know that diversity always wins. And these are the type of companies that we want to invest in when it comes to socially responsible and sustainable funds.
And for someone who wants to go green, because we talk a lot about being environmentally friendly and mindful, where should folks start?
Most people have access to a 401k. And so that's a good place to start. Look at the lineup that's within your 401k, look for sustainable funds, look for ESG funds. If they're not there, reach out to your HR person and ask them to add those to the portfolio lineup. That's usually the first place. A lot of people also have Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, investment accounts, trust accounts. Those are also investment accounts that can be switched over from traditional funds to socially responsible funds.
And so, because I think it's confusing for folks because they think they've got a 401k. How much control do people have over their 401k? Is an element.
You do have control over your 401k. You can go in anytime and change your investment lineup. We want to still keep the diversification. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. But if there are socially responsible or sustainable funds, you can start to add to those as well. And over time, as you get more comfortable, you can overweight those areas.
Okay. And what are some of the like I get really nervous. Like I said when we started, like money gives me anxiety, and like we all come from it, whether it's the way we were raised or what our environment is. What are some of the common mistakes investors who are new to this might make, and how can they avoid them?
Well, the biggest thing that we look for is greenwashing. We know that companies are not always completely honest about how they're handling the environment, how they handle employee pay, how they handle governance. So we're making sure that they're doing what they're saying, and we know that doesn't always happen. But the fact that they sometimes fib or lie, whatever you want to call it, that tells me that they do care, and they do care about how they're viewed, and they do care about these investment dollars that are flowing to them. So greenwashing is a big one.
So how do you avoid that? What's a way to avoid any of the greenwashing?
The best thing you can do if you're looking at just a regular investment account, Morningstar, Yahoo Finance, name your investment website. You can look at the top 10 holdings of a company, and you can of a fund or ETF. You can look at their holdings, and that is generally helpful. You want to look at the Morningstar ratings. You want to try to buy 4 and 5 rated ESG funds. So there's a lot of different areas. We have on our website a bunch of reference sites that people can look at and try to get more information on there.
And like I said, there's a lot of information online. You have all these, people giving you advice and things like that. What's the performance myth trap?
Right. So I've been doing this for 25 years, and somehow in the last 7 to 10 years, you've seen an attack on ESG. And the myth is that ESG funds don't perform as well as traditional funds. But there's numerous studies out there. Morgan Stanley did a study of 11,000 mutual funds over 17 years where they compared ESG funds to regular funds. And there was no financial trade-off when it came to sustainable funds versus traditional funds. And actually, sustainable funds outperformed in down markets. In years where the market didn't do as well, sustainable funds actually outperformed. I believe it's because of the better management, the diversity, and the happier employees. People may argue that, but regardless, they did well in down markets. So that myth is not true.
Okay. Well, again, I want to remind folks, we're talking to Alex Papadopoulos, president of Egéa Wealth Management. Everyone can go to egeawm.com. That's egeawm.com. And I want to continue. So one of the other things that I hear a lot about are one fund has high fees. I mean, you'll see like 0.5, 0.7, 0.07. What should folks look for in terms of fees?
Well, generally, I would recommend that people use ETFs, exchange traded funds. Those tend to have the lowest expense to them. Vanguard has ETFs that have expenses of 0.10, so 0.1% or 20 basis points. Now, when it comes to ESG, we are adding that additional layer of scrutiny. So ESG funds do tend to have a little more expense to them than traditional funds. So that's something to be aware of. But you don't want to be paying anything more than 0.5%, maybe a little more than that on exchange traded funds. We want to be below 0.5% on anything that we're doing as far as investments.
You mentioned diversification. What are some common mistakes when it comes to where you put your money?
Well, so right now, renewables are hot. Solar, wind, batteries, we don't see that here in the U.S. as much, but globally, this change is happening. I would caution investors to not put all of your money in solar, wind, and batteries. You still want to be diversified, no matter what the hot trend may be. And I'm a big believer of renewables. I think this is going to last for a long, long time. But you still want to be diversified. You want to have your money invested across multiple asset classes. Don't get too excited. I mean, you hear about people putting all their money in Bitcoin and different areas. Stay balanced and be in it for the long haul. Don't try to get rich overnight. That's when you get in trouble.
Yeah. Well, I mean, would you? Okay, if I may take a side route, would you say? I mean, my perspective, my understanding would be like, if you want to take risks, make that the money you're willing to lose. I mean, basically, you're gambling. right?
You want to come work? You want to come work with me? Yeah, you said it perfectly. Yeah, you're 100% correct. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, make that. Yeah. It's like walking into a casino. What are you willing to lose? So obviously one of the biggest things that people are talking about, and it's so weird. I feel like there's a before and after moment of AI. So what should people know about the AI risks?
We believe AI is a good thing. I think it can be used for many good purposes. In our case, we're looking to save the climate. I think that AI is a good thing, a good tool that can be used when it comes to solar, wind, and energy. But we know that the AI data centers are consuming tons and tons of energy and a lot of water. So this is a big concern for us. We're monitoring this, and we want to make sure that the companies that are taking advantage of the situation are named. We want to make sure that they're called out for what they're doing. And this is something that it's going to probably have to be handled legislatively, state by state. AI data centers, I believe, if they want to build a data center, they have to also build out their own infrastructure when it comes to energy. They cannot be tapping into the general public's electricity and raising our prices as well. So that's a battle that has to be fought on multiple layers, but that's kind of where we're at.
Gotcha.
Lost an earpiece.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
I got excited there when you said AI.
Your ears are popping. I got it. So tell me a little bit about how Egéa became a wealth management company that specializes in sustainable living.
Yeah. So I started my career 25 years ago here in Evanston, Illinois, on the campus of Northwestern. And I would get professors, people from the area, grad students that wanted to invest their money, but they wanted to do it in a way that was good for the environment. And this started about 25 years ago. And I've had these clients within my business for many, many years. And right around COVID, I decided, hey, I need to make a difference in the world. I was up on the 80th floor of an office building downtown, and I said, it's time to make a difference. We branched off and we started Egéa, and we focus solely on sustainable and socially responsible investing. So that's all we do. And there's a lot of people that want to make a difference with their investments.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. Before I let you go, because I really appreciate your time today, we mentioned renewable energy stocks, and you said, don't put all of your eggs in one basket for everything, really. And, this is going to last for a long time. How are those renewable energy stocks doing since the Iran war started?
Yeah. So in the sustainable world, we finally have a superstar on our side, and it's renewables. This trend actually started around 2024, where renewables were cheaper than fossil fuels, and they started to get built out in different countries and for different corporations, different states. So, for instance, the state of Texas leads the nation in solar installation.
Really?
Right, that's the reaction that people have because the media is not talking about it. Texas definitely isn't talking about it. But guess what? Money talks, and renewables are the cheapest form of energy out there. They're efficient. And with batteries, we can store energy on the days that are not sunny or the days that are not windy. And so you're seeing, going back to the war, now you're seeing countries that are saying, look, we don't want to be dependent on what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. We have to be self-sufficient. And especially in emerging markets in Africa and Asia, they're building out wind and solar at astronomical numbers. We can't even keep track of how fast they're building it out, but it makes sense. They want to be dependent on themselves and not have to worry about that tanker full of oil getting to them, right? And so this is a trend that's happening globally. It's happening here in the US as well. And anytime there's been a technology replacement like this, it's been dramatic. Real quick, if you remember, there was a time when people didn't have smartphones and cell phones, right? We had our pagers, there was a time where we had these big phones that people carried around. And then just like that, everybody has a smartphone. This is what's happening globally when it comes to renewables. And so I'm excited about it. I think it's a great investment opportunity. within a balanced portfolio, right? We're not going to go crazy, but this is an exciting time to be in the sustainable world. So we might not see it, Patty, but it's happening.
Well, it's fun. I have sponsors of my show, Source Solar, and he is really, I mean, he's so passionate about it. Peter Sorellis has been on the show talking about just exactly what you're describing, and our listeners have been engaged about that, have questions, and want to know how. I mean, that's at a residential level, but what we're talking about is like the whole industry of it. So I really appreciate your perspective, your expertise, your commitment to being socially responsible, because when we put our money where our values are, that's how we move in a better direction, I think.
Agreed. Thanks for having me.
Again, we've been talking to our friend Alex Papadopoulos, president of Egéa Wealth Management. Go to EGEAWM.com. That's EGEAWM.com for Egéa Wealth Management. And we look forward to talking to you again, Alex. Stay hydrated. That's what I tell everybody. Stay hydrated. That's
Thanks, Patty.
Some mindfulness. Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you again later, my friends. Love you, Lady B.
Save big money at Menards. College move-in is just around the corner, and Menards has great deals on all the essentials, like storage organizers, laundry baskets, clean